to write with. What are needed? We're good to know. All right. Good. One more. I want you to flip to page 31 in your manual. Headline, Role Model Technique. And just read that page for me. Pretty sure it's page 31. Yeah. So heading, you are a powerful role model. Just look up when you're done. So Body Attack is a strong, results-driven program. And in order to keep that promise for our members, keep the workout safe, we need to role model perfect technique every time. What's your job in technique? Role model perfect technique, right? Yeah. And the reason is, it gives our members the results that they came for. It also keeps them safe, all right? So not only do you need to have technique, but if you're going to go for an option, just because it's low impact doesn't mean it's easy. You're still going to go for that option. You're still going to offer that to your members. You're still working hard. Body Attack is for everybody, and it's still a great workout for everybody. So technique is going to show that as well. In order for your technique to be perfect, it's a really not a word that you can really deviate from in any direction. But in order for it to be perfect, you need to practice it perfectly. So really work on it. Your mirror and video cameras are going to be your best friend when you're training technique. Even if it's just 20 minutes a week, which is all I usually really do outside of class, all I really have time for. But that 20 minutes is 150% on the technique. You're practicing it perfect, just like you're teaching and critiquing yourself, or having your teammates critique you, or working with one another, or looking at your video, as hard as that is sometimes to look at yourself teaching. That's what's going to make you guys even better, okay? So on those pages, I think after 31 comes the assessment criteria. You can just look through that really quickly. And we're going to go over each point that talks about. So for this weekend, we're looking at 3 major things that you're going to see on your $100 bill that Janelle gave you in the beginning. You don't need to have it, but it's position, execution, and timing. We're going to go over each one of them. So for this drill, I'm going to borrow Dan, because we're going to talk about position. So attack position is something we maintain throughout the class. And the drill, I'm going to have Dan, you face me, hold up one arm with his palm facing me, and use the worst posture that you can possibly come up with. Yeah. Stand on one leg. I'm going to push him over. It's pretty easy. It's a pushover. So now I'm going to coach him into perfect position. Feet under your hips, toes out slightly, knees soft, brace your belly, lift your chest, shoulders up, back, and down. Put one arm forward. Lift your foot. Still pretty hard to push over. Yeah. All right, so I want you guys to stand and do that with each other. Find a partner. Person with the smallest foot can go first. Foot.
So you feel that and all in that right here. So
That's 2 minutes.
Easy. All right. So okay. Torso nice and long. Chest is lifted. Abs braced. Keep it slow. And lift those things. Oh yeah. Now stand on one leg. There we go. Okay.
You guys felt it on these techniques, yeah? All right, great. Let's talk about each one of them. So position is what we just went over. You can sit. Position is going to be your body attack set position throughout the class. Even though we transfer it onto maybe the floor for push-ups, you're still in set position. So that is feet under the hips, toes out slightly, knees soft, belly braced, chest up, shoulder blades back and down the whole time. Something you want to think about. Every move, this stays the same. All right? That is the first point right here, position on our technique, role model technique. So you want to maintain that throughout the class and in every track. Our next one is execution. Execution has 3 main points that we look at. And they are range of motion, control, and efficiency. So execution is you take the position, you're in set position. It's how you do the move, how you execute the move. Range of motion is going to be the distance of the move. So from point A to point B, are you within that range of motion? So a really poor range of motion, or a low range of motion for, let's take a move, a single knee, and look at a low range of motion. Where are my knees? Low. Where are my arms? Low. Yeah. All right. So a good range of motion would be knees up to your hips. Your arm touches at 45 degrees. Okay? That's range of motion. So it's the whole move, the entire movement, from point A to point B. Are you within that? Or are you low? Or are you too high? Control. Wildly out of control jumping jacks. Just hands are way too high. Let's say my chest is down. Not very good control. Hands are going way out. Let's look at a good jack. Hands are shoulder height. Knees are out, butt is back. Chest is up. My abs are braced. My heels are down. I'm in control with this move. All right? So that's control. Efficiency. Point A to point B again here. So let's say for a single punch, instead of scooping, how about I punch in one straight line, right to point B and straight back. So a jack move, that would be good, and maybe not very efficient. I'm wasting a lot of energy there, right? I'm wasting energy and it's not very safe. So all 3 of those things are going to be used for the execution. It's something we look at in each move that you do, are those 3 things. And your technique points on the back, we'll look at each of those. So let's take a knee repeater. All the phrases, weight in front leg with heel grounded, knee above and in line with the middle of toes, foot comes up to supported knee and extends back long. Those are all execution points. For this weekend, you need to get 50% of them. We'll talk about assessment a little bit later, and then we have all the other elements of PETFF under there. For timing is number 3. Timing is moving in time and on the correct beat. When we went over that in choreography, when we were clapping out the beats, do you remember when we did that? And you guys were telling me what to do? You were telling me to move in time with each beat. It's not a choreography issue. If your timing was off, you'd probably be doing the choreography correct, just not at the right time. It might be a count or 2 behind or a count or 2 ahead. But instead of maybe your toes being down on knee repeater, at the time when they're supposed to be down, they're up. All right, does that make sense? For these first 3, this is what you're going to be assessed on for this weekend. Over the next 2 months, we'll talk about this in a minute. You'll be assessed in the last 2. Number 4 is fitness. Body Attack is a very strong program. It's a program for everyone. And your fitness basically means, are you able to maintain the correct position and execution throughout the track, as well as throughout the class? As we start to fatigue, our form gets worse, and the fitter you are, the better you're able to maintain those things. And it's something that you need to work on for the next 2 months and forever. Don't worry about it this weekend. It's not something we're going to look at, okay? It's something we'll talk about, and we're going to give you tools to get there. Our Body Attack Challenge tomorrow and our fitness test later today will set baselines for you to work towards. And it's something we're always working towards. Any questions? All right. Last one is feel. Feel in Body Attack asks the question, are you moving like an athlete? Do you look like an athlete? How does an athlete act? And it also plays into the dimension that you're doing. So if you're moving like an athlete, or let's say you're moving like a soccer player in track 3, might look great doing it, but it's not in the dimension of track 3, because track 3 is what dimension? Aerobics, right? So feel is asking, what does that look like for that dimension? Overall, what do you look like as a Body Attack instructor in the beginning of class, throughout the class, but also the dimension, since we have 3D instructor now with Body Attack. Does that make sense? Feel is something that took me a while to understand, and that's pretty much the question that you need to ask yourself is, how do I look during this track? How do I portray myself during this track? How am I feeling the music, the choreography, and the moves, and showing that to the members with using all the key elements for your interpretation of the choreography and your technique. Okay? Does anyone have any questions on the PETFF? Pet Furry Friends is one way to remember it. No? All right, you're going to be assessed, like Janelle said, on this for your track that you will teach, not the track that you're shadowing. So don't worry about that. Well, let's talk about the gears next. So we have gears 1 through 4 in Body Attack. The gears help us to show our members and participants when recovery is and when to work hard, but it also is for us for recovery in certain times during the track. It creates that, in the class rather, it creates that journey throughout the class of highs and lows in intensity. And it's your key in the choreography notes to how hard you need to be working, depending on what gear it is. Doesn't mean you're not working hard, but gear 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I'm going to take one move. It's hard to really pick one move that you can show all the gears in, but for a single knee, gear 1 would look like this. You still have correct execution. You still have correct control. I still have correct range of motion and position. Gear 2 would just be a little bit more, maybe 70, 80%. This is a steady state gear. Gear 1 you can stay in all day. Gear 2, just a little bit harder. Gear 3, you're starting to push a little bit harder and almost all out, but not quite. And gear 4, it's hard to show in this move, but we stayed for the last 10 seconds, 20 seconds of a track. There's 8 counts of gear 4 in each high knee run in track 4. Because you should only be able to do it for 8 seconds, or 8 counts, that's it. 8 times for that move. So we save that for the time to inspire our members, to really show them, this is how I can go in, contrast, come back down. The gears make sense? Yeah. You'll see them each track that you teach, and it'll always be highlighted for you in the size of those tracks as well. Another thing with those gears ties into fitness that I forgot to mention, and that your fitness level can also makes class, or that dimension rather, fitness, has a level where it can inspire your members. So your fitness level, saving that gear 4, has to tie into that as well. That makes sense? Yeah. All right, we're going to move everything out of the way. Get dressed and ready to, you have like sweatshirts on or anything. Take them off for 90 minutes of technique boot camp.